Greetings, drinking buddies. The star of today's show is Weller Special Reserve. Why? Well, Weller 12 year has become so hard to find, people think that they can charge $500 for it at liquor stores. And I think that's crazy. So I decided to take this $30 bottle at retail, drop in a charred oak spiral in it to see if it'll taste as good as Weller 12. Let's find out.
I'm your drinking buddy.
Alright, drinking buddies, so I decided to devise a flight starring our home-aged Weller Special Reserve. As you can see, there's still the charred oak spiral in there. I'm just going to leave it in there, to be honest, until this bottle is done. If I start to feel like it's getting over-oaked, I'll by all means pull it out, but I'm going to leave it in there. I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to keep letting it change in flavor and profile, but as of right now, it's been in there for 2 weeks. Maybe 2 weeks and a day. But Weller Special Reserve, home-aged, is in one of these glasses, as well as Weller Special Reserve Regular that hasn't been home-aged, 90 proof as well, so 90 proof, 90 proof. And then we also have the 90 proof Weller 12 somewhere in this blind. And we also have the Weller single barrel somewhere in this blind. Now this is the only one that's not 90 proof, so I will freely admit that I'll probably be able to pick this one out because it's sitting at 97 proof. Also, it's going to be interesting with this one because if somehow I like this one the best, I might just have to subscribe to the neck pour theory. As of right now, I am not a neck pour supporter. So if you're a neck pour supporter out there, I'm not throwing shade at you, I'm just saying it doesn't work for me. Anyways, well, let's dive right in. So we're going to start with number 1 here on the end. Citrusy. There's some oak coming off of this. I think this might be one of the older ones. Yeah, so I got quite a few unique flavors coming off of this. I'm getting some chocolate, I'm getting some vanilla, I'm getting some mesquite, but it feels thin. I'm not sure what I just drank at all. Wow, that was kind of unique. I don't know what that was, which as of right now might lead to me to think it might be this because it tastes so unique. Or my palate's completely off today. Let's go to number 2. Now this smells like a Maker's product. It's kind of grain forward. Yeah, if you put this in front of me, I'd say this is Maker's. Maybe that's just that wheat profile, but that one's sweet, but it does have a dry finish. So, oh, yeah, that's older. That's older. That's going to be either the 12 or the home-aged. So far, this might be a disaster. I might not be able to pick out any of these bottles. That one also felt a little thin. The finish does come abrupt and short. It doesn't linger on the tongue. When I think of a bottle that just lingers on the tongue and you just taste it forever, it's got this wonderful finish. I think it's something like a stag do there. So, but anyway, we're gonna move on to number 3. Very similar smell to number 1. Yeah, little citrusy, oak. That one's sweet, young, thin, peanut buttery. That I believe is the Weller Special Reserve, just the standard. Could be wrong, but that's what I think. Yeah, it's kind of one note. It's kind of peanut butter, vanilla. I guess that's 2 notes. It's kind of peanut butter, vanilla, and then ends abruptly. Number 4. Oh, now this smells completely different than the rest. Yeah, there's just more going on here. This is brighter, less, believe it or not, less ethanol. Yeah, it's this is bright and citrusy. So this has got some dry oak, but it's still got a little bit of that young bourbon characteristic, which is vanilla, warming spices, sweet, brown sugar. This is the most complex one I've had so far. It's the best one I've had so far. So I'm gonna have to lean towards this being the Weller 12 year. And I don't feel like the finish is thin. I feel like it lingers. It's not as long as something like a Stag Junior, but it lingers. And there is a little bit, just a slight, very, very slight cherry Coke thing going on that a lot of people pick up off of the Buffalo Trace stuff. It's so slight and it's almost barely there that if you weren't looking for it, you probably wouldn't notice it, but just slight on the finish. There's a little tiny bit of a cherry Coke thing going on. Best one so far. This is the Weller 12. I am pretty confident of that. Alright, drinking buddies, I'm going to go through these one more time and I'll make my final guesses, and then we will just figure out which is which. Alright, drinking buddies, so I've gone through them one more time and I'm ready to make my final guesses. I'm ready to tell you which one is the best, which one is the weakest, and we'll find out if this little experiment worked or if it was a total train wreck. But number one, I believe, is my home aged because it has a little bit of a extra aged flavor going on while still tasting very young. I know that probably doesn't make sense to someone who's new to drinking bourbon, but if you've been drinking a bourbon for a while, you know that those new bourbons tend to be kind of sweet and grain forward, and those older bourbons tend to be more dry and oak forward. And this is a weird combination of the two, not necessarily in a bad way. Number two, I believe to be Number two is the standard Weller Special Reserve. It's the weakest of the four. I think it's still a good bottle. It's just unfortunate that it's being sought after so much that some liquor stores are like, yeah, $100 Weller Special Reserve, when this should be a $30 bottle. It's no better than, it's not even as good as Maker's 46, and it's no better than Larceny. Number three, I believe to be the Weller Single Barrel. I say this because this of the four tastes the hottest. It is good. It is not as good as one or four. This is the Single Barrel, and it's my third favorite. And lastly, this is number four. This is Weller 12. I'm very confident of this, and it is easily my favorite. So, number one by a long shot, number two, number three, and number four for my favorites. So my favorite was the 12 year. So number four was the 12 year. My second favorite, number one, which I said was the home aged, was the home aged. My third favorite, number three, which I said was the single barrel, was the single barrel. And then number two, which I said was the special reserve, was the special reserve. Now, let's take this project into context here. I took in many areas, like Texas and Ohio, for example, readily available bottle. I dropped one of these spirals in it, and I made a product that tasted to me, just to me, better than Weller's Single Barrel. So I'm gonna go ahead and call this a success. Now, the last time I used one of these spirals on a bourbon, I made some Prudent Pappy, and if you don't know, Prudent Pappy is going to be two parts Maker's cask strength to 1 part Larceny, and by itself it tastes okay. You threw that oak spiral in there and you made something pretty excellent. So I would recommend playing around with some of these oak spirals. You know what I might do next? I might take something like Old Grandad 114, which is a really cheap bottle at a higher proof, drop one of these in there and see if I can make something really excellent. Drop a comment if you think I should try one of these oak aged spirals in something else. I've done it in gin, I've done it in tequila, I've done them in a lot of things, and I think the most successful things that I've done so far have been the gin, this Weller Special Reserve, and like I said, the Pruby Pappy. Success? I'm gonna say yes. Tell me if I'm stupid and I wasted a bottle of Weller Special Reserve in the comments. Thanks for watching. Cheers.